Hey guys, JK here. Some new news to talk about, and then we'll go ahead and transition over later in the video to LAMIA's Job Plus. But first we want to talk about this upcoming event called the Desert Merchant. If you don't have a merchant already, support job, this is going to be a really good opportunity for you because they're actually a very useful job. There's like a mixture of healing properties, a little bit of like mini overclocking, and also jewel transfer, very unique stuff. So definitely check it out if you are still in need of that merchant job. And even if you aren't, I mean, why not get another one? Why not get a different element one, than what you already have, like if you have an Aruba or something. So definitely a good free unit that we're going to get here. I'm guessing that we're going to, job 3 merchant, of course, is going to be the main job. And then you can have like a move +1 passive and, just overall pretty good stuff. So that's pretty cool. But the part that I'm really excited about is going to be this. The EX level for the Desert Merchant is going to have BALT's Job Plus. Now, if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, you may know that BALT was like my original go-to unit, kind of like my husbando, I guess you would say, although I don't really roll that way. But yeah, like he was like the first premium unit that I really wailed for, kind of unintentionally, but I just kept getting them, so I kept, thinking why not go for the job 3 and so forth. But he's been very good so far, if you have him a really high level, that is. He's not really good if you don't have him past level 75, but he's already good for me. But with this, he's going to be very, very powerful. I know in Japan, he's probably gotten a few extra enhancements and so forth, but he's top tier in Japan right now. So, this is going to get us a little bit closer to that form. But either way, he's going to be very good. I'm really excited about this. Twin Blade Swordsman Plus. Yeah, I'm just really excited because this is something I've been kind of looking forward to ever since I first pulled him. I will confess I did look at the tier list and everything early on, and I was like, wow, this guy is really good in the future, and I'm gonna pull for him. So that's kind of what influenced my decision back then. So yeah, definitely exciting for me. I'm gonna farm that up like immediately. I do have a level 85 BALT, by the way. I did get him to level 85. So the next event's going to be called Trial of the Ether. This is a global exclusive event. What's cool about this is that it kind of gives us a chance to use our mages more, because that's probably going to be required to even do any damage. So yeah, it says bring your best magic users, and if you don't have enough weapons for your magic users like gear, this is actually going to give you an opportunity to farm up as many lightning rods as you need, which is really cool because that's a legit weapon. It's not like even free weapons in this game can be good, and this is, no exception. It's a pretty decent rod, has some decent stats, and, definitely should pull it so that, any magic user that you bring always has the option of bringing that gear along with them. So really cool stuff. And then finally, we have Facebook Messenger service launch. I'm not personally really using Facebook anymore because, I don't know, I just don't really like it, and I'm kind of concerned about some of the privacy issues. But if you do, this is a good way to keep up with the latest news and everything. So check that out if you are interested. Personally not for me, but yeah, I have this account tied to Facebook, but I try not to sign in. So anyway, that's it with the news. I'm going to go ahead and switch over and show you guys my LAMIA. This was a little bit of a pain to farm. I don't know about you guys, maybe it was just my imagination, but I felt like the distribution of the drops was very uneven for this one. So like with this thing here, the Valkyrie figurine, I remember having like 4 shards out of 60, whereas I had completely finished another one of these things, like maybe this one or whatever. So it took a while to get them all evened out, or to the point where I could actually craft them all. But then I started getting like random drops of like 12 or 16 shards even of these things or other stuff. It's very, very random, so just stick with it. Over time, it'll even out eventually. So first impressions are that stats are actually pretty solid. Overall, the attack is obviously a little bit lower than other Dragon Cavaliers like Rosa, but that's not really a fair comparison because Rosa is sacrificing her defense when she uses overlimit, whereas this is just based purely off her base stats. 453 is actually pretty good, especially if you consider that if you have like Pierce Mastery in here, that's some extra damage that you're not really seeing. It increases the attack modifier for Pierce types, which Dragon Cavalier does use. So she's going to do a little bit more damage than you might expect, and her agility is decent, not great, but Dragon Cavaliers are just slow in general. So 104 is okay. You're not going to see any drastic improvements over normal Dragon Cavalier in this case, but yeah, better defensive stats, more HP than Rosa. Pretty good overall. So I'm going to go ahead and put a weapon on here because we're going to bring her into a match and kind of see what she's like in the real world settings, I guess. What can we use? Why is this on free? Alright, we're going to put this on her. 493 attack. Definitely pretty good. Let's see. Probably some kind of armor, and then I'll just maybe use this for now. Doesn't really matter because we're not gonna get like, it's not a real match. We're not gonna get hit a ton. And then maybe if you wanted to, you could bring a Swallow Scarf for some added agility, or of course you can bring a Curious Doll for better jewel farming. So we'll just do that for now. That way I can showcase more skills. So that's what she looks like with her gear and everything. I didn't master this yet, but with these low level jobs, you don't really get a whole ton of stats. Like even when I mastered Spearman, I got maybe like 7 attack and like 5 points of crit or random stuff like that. So do it if you can, and if you really like a character and use them a lot, but it's not really a must. But yeah, even with this is very solid stats all around. And again, with that Pierce Master, you're gonna get more than you expect. And then we'll bring Rosa, who's not quite level 85, so it's not really apples to apples comparison, but we'll bring her along and see how they compare. I'm sure Rosa's gonna do a little bit more damage because of over limit, but I think you'll see that they're fairly comparable. It's not like a night and day difference. So let's go ahead and do that. Get a Curious Doll on her as well. And she doesn't have a third gear slot because she's not level 85. It's also worth noting, of course, that she has Ninja Stealth for that extra mobility, which is pretty huge, but her defense is worse, her HP is a little bit worse, and then her agility is a little bit lower as well. So let's go ahead and compare them. I already kind of am expecting Rosa to win, but considering how easy LAMIA is to get compared to her, I think it's going to be pretty decent. So let's go ahead and find one here. Advanced. Now let's do Mastery because I don't want to deal with like getting slowed down. So let's bring LAMIA here. And of course, yeah, I'm comparing these two, but the obvious factor to consider when you're bringing these into an actual level is that they're different elements. So water's going to be much better in certain cases. Dark's just kind of consistent overall. And if you are bringing Rosa against the light element group of enemies, that does mean that she'll also die easier. So there's that as well. Starting jewels are pretty similar. So 36 is actually not enough for Eternal Night, which is her improved version of Grand Cross. You'll notice that it has 5 uses instead of 3, so that's pretty good. But she does get to do Dragon Slayer, which is really nice right off the bat. Maybe Rosa would too if she was level 85, so I'm not going to really hold that against her. So yeah, she can't do Dragon Slayer. We're just going to have to wait here. Oh, they both have jumps. Oh, I could have maybe done a jump on LAMIA. They do have jumps, which I may be able to pull off here. Who is that guy? Okay, that's not Zahar, so maybe I can do it. You do want to use the actually they're all the same cast time, so let's go ahead and do that. Wow, that was almost immediate. Okay, or it was immediate. That's pretty good. She does have that HP drain +2, which is really nice. I mean, it's just overall really nice to have finally some use for her because she's been sitting in my roster for so long. Okay, so regular attack is 819. Probably to this guy similar. Okay, so yeah, why don't we do that, because I want to compare Grand Cross most of all. Alright, 1083 crit. Oh, I forgot to show you guys my setup, my ability setup, but I do have Sky High, so it boosts her jumps. But if you're not really using jumps at all, I do find them situationally useful. But if you're not using those, you could go with the extra crit. That's another option for you. Okay, so both of these girls have enough for a Grand Cross type of ability now. Wow, she almost got, what did she get? Like 59 jewels from that one hit. Granted, it was a crit, but that's still really impressive. Okay, so let's do this. Actually, I'm probably gonna hit... Oh man, I'm gonna hit Rosa, aren't I? No, she's out of the way. Okay, let's do this. Well, first of all, jump would do that much, so depending on the element, of course, varies. But it does look actually very comparable to Rosa. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, maybe on average about 1200. Not too bad. We'll keep that in mind, and then we'll see how much Rosa's would do. I do want to see kind of like what, are they in the same ballpark or whatever. So let's go ahead and do Grand Cross. Okay, I can't see the damage up front, but let's just see how much it does. 1300, okay. He guarded a little bit, so maybe it would have done a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, that quick comparison kind of shows you that, you know, there's not a night and day difference. Even though she doesn't have an overdrive, she doesn't have an over limit, her damage is actually very decent because of the Dragon Cavalier Plus job. Some of the equipment, if you take a look at it, gives you a ton of stats. So I think she's very solid. And, you know, she's not, unlike Zangetsu, who is, you know, he's a powerhouse. Let's not, you know, mistake that or anything. But he is very slow. You kind of have to babysit him a little bit. But with her, she's a very standalone unit. Good defense, you know, fairly tanky. This is the setup I have for her. Instead of this, you could go Vital Thrust if you are really averse to jumps, but I do find jumps useful sometimes. So yeah, I mean, pretty solid overall. I mean, these equipments, like I mentioned, the stats are pretty insane for some of these things. Like, I remember thinking like, wow, she's really slow, and then like one of these gave like a ton of agility. Yeah, like this one, 20 agility just from that one thing. Pretty powerful stuff. So that's pretty much all I'm going to show, because there's really nothing new. It's that improved Grand Cross basically that gives you a couple more charges. But I mean, having a Water Dragon Cavalier is always going to be useful, and you know, she's pretty self-sustaining. She's not something you have to babysit too much, and yeah, just a very solid overall unit. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty excited to have her. Now I can finally use her. She looks really cool, and of course I'm most excited about BALT coming our way. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, somebody asked me to do this video. I happily obliged, and hope you got something out of it. Take care, guys. Peace.